And today I'm going to share how to learn about the flow state fast.
And I'm going to share the best Instagram meme account. Let's get to it.
My cool sheet is a book summary. And this is a YouTube video, and it is summarizing the book Flow by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. And I'm going to say that again, Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, because I would say one of the things I loved most about seeing this video is that he recognized how difficult it is to pronounce that name because of the spelling, and he pronounces it for you, and he says, by the way, that is how you pronounce it. So it was such a joy for me to finally learn this name and how you say it. So this is a great brief summary of this very well-known book, Flow, which surprisingly hasn't been a cool sheet yet. And this video is on the FightMediocrity YouTube channel. This is also a former cool sheet, so that's how I came about to watching about it. And it expands on the idea that the way that we feel internally, our consciousness, this comes from inside of us. And it is not our circumstances, which is so hard to fight against because our circumstances they're coming at us from every direction, and it's really hard to navigate that sometimes. But if we can remember that it's what's inside of us, that's going to help us navigate all of that. So when we can get into this state of happiness, partially that we can do that by getting into the state of flow. And so this book talks all about this, and this video is then giving us a snippet of how we can understand that whole concept better and then how we can attain that. So it's possible that the book itself would be a cool sheet if I had actually read it, but I haven't. So for now, this is a great debrief on the whole thing that the originator of this concept was talking about in his book. This is more than just a summary though. You get some great visuals to learn from. And there is one part of the video that I want to highlight in this time that I have, and that's this grid that shows challenge versus skill. And you want to balance these two, and seeing this visually really helped me get into it and understand it a lot better. A lot more to say about this, but watch this video on the book summary of Flow.
Oh, this is so cool. So I really need to see this video because Flow, it has been quoted so much on so many nonfiction books that I've read that I almost kind of got like, roll my eyes like, oh dear Lord, here we go. Let's talk about flow. It's like synergy, you know, it's just like, stop it already with the flow. I get it. You want the flow state. And it's also like that movie where I've seen it third party so often that I feel like I've read the book, or maybe I have, like I can't even remember. Yeah, right? Have I read the book? Have I just read so many excerpts that I feel like I have? I'm sure I've probably bought the digital version of the book, and I don't think I've actually got through it. I think it was tough for me to get into, but I have, I mean, I know the flow state exists. I love it when I'm in there. But yeah, I've been so like saturated with it that I was just kind of like closed off. Well, but this maybe I need to really look. It was definitely my own hang up. And I need to take a look at this video and maybe it'll get me back into it and understand it a little bit better.
And the video is only like 7 minutes. But I got to say, that one visual itself, which we will show here, totally worth it. Because, and I completely related to it because it says, okay, if something is really challenging, but you have low skill in it, you're going to feel anxious. You're going to have anxiety. And I'm like, yeah, totally. I know that. Yeah. But if you're a high skill in it and it's not very challenging, you're going to feel bored. And so there's this area that is what you're trying to get at. And that's this balance of the two. Yeah, and like it made so much sense to me when I saw that visually.
That's cool. Yeah, no, I'm so glad you shared this because, I want to check out this video and maybe get in touch with my flow again.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going to be talking about an Instagram, and this is going to have to get bleeped out on the radio, but it's called Shitheadsteve. So that's like poop, only a different word that we can't say on the radio for those listening on the podcast or on the radio station. We won't bleep it out on the podcast. But this is the self-proclaimed best meme page of 2022, 10 years in a row, in fact. All of their stuff is original unless it will be credited in the posts if it is not original. So I have curated my Instagram feed to 3 things: education and good news only, inspiring art or projects, and funny stuff, things that make me laugh. And this one is definitely one of the funniest Instagrams out there. If you love memes, this is for you. It's also a really good way to keep up with pop culture. You know, I've talked about TikTok and how I like to do that because it kind of gets the younger demographic on like what is cool and hip and in pop culture in their world. Makes me feel a little bit younger, knows what they're talking about. And you know, I also talked about a form of cool sheet where it's, you know, having friends that are in different generations. So that just gives your life more I don't know, happiness and zest in your life. So this definitely does that, because there are a lot of times where I have no idea what they're talking about. The meme does not make sense. And then I have that choice. Do I want to look it up? Do I want to see what this craze is about? Why is everybody talking about Pete Davidson under their bed? Or do I just leave it alone? I don't have to. And then when you see the ones that hit, you do, I get that. It slaps so hard, as the young kids would say, and it is hilarious. He is just always on point, and I just love it. And actually, this is where I found Recess Therapy, the YouTube, which was my best of last year, and still one of my favorite YouTube channels. So every once in a while, it's not a funny thing. He'll have something really touching and endearing. It also has lots of Soprano memes, so of course I like that. I just finally finished the rewatch and podcast of that, which was a former cool sheet. It has tons of dad memes and things like that. They even sell a whole bunch of merch. It's definitely worth checking out. Shitheadsteve.
Okay, I'm gonna subscribe to this. I've never heard of it, but it sounds right up my alley. Like, I just want the fun, light stuff sometimes.
Yeah, I have totally gotten rid of news, because even the good news stations, it's just always about, you know, bad things that are going. There's a lot, and that's very important, you know, but I have curated my feed to just these things. Creative. I would say the other big one that I have is people of color. I've tried to get people of color with voices that are unheard on my feed a lot more often, and kind of just scraped away like the more frivolous, like stuff that's kind of gets me down and weighs on me really heavily. So this one, if you just want to laugh, Tim Ferriss actually, I think, is how I found it, because he'll repost a lot of this account, and I was like, what is this? And then I looked, and it's multiple times a day of like these memes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's super funny, endless scroll if you want it. Sometimes you have to pull yourself away and maybe stop watching it so often, but it's great. It's super funny. And then the ones you don't get, like, you can make that choice. Do I want to know what this joke is? Especially if you start singing it over and over and over. And then you'll hear someone talk about it, and you're like, all right, I need to, you know, learn what this is so I can be the, you know, entertaining at the cocktail party that knows about all pop culture memes. Because who doesn't want to be that person?
Yes.
Life of the party.
At all of these cocktail parties that we're going to
exactly.
all the time. I love it. Well, thank you.
You're very welcome.
And all of you, if you want to have links and learn more about everything we've talked about, you can go to 10bestest.com/doorway to learn about everything during this episode that we talked about. Thank you for joining us, friend. I'm Karen McFarlane-Holman.
And I'm Brian Hart.
Let us know in the comments. Do you ever try to get into the flow state?
And let us know, what's your favorite meme website or Instagram account?
If you're enjoying the show, please give us a like and share it with a friend.
Stay tuned next week for another great week of shows.
And don't forget to stay curious.